So I thought I would just quickly talk through what I did with Bree this afternoon. So that way, if you wanted to use this setup, you're welcome to, in case flipping the panels or the little dots down was proving challenging. And I know you said that you would feel more comfortable with more buffer space. So I thought that this would help facilitate that. So this afternoon, I trained Bree to have the clear panel here as the cue to engage, rather than you dropping down your dot as her cue to engage. So when the video started, she was still focused on food, so that was my fault for starting early. But as you can see, the way we start is kind of like how you did before. You start with just presenting the blue dot by itself. And every time you lift this, she acknowledges that lifting of that clear panel is what is her cue to now engage with a dot, and hopefully a blue dot. Nice. All right, so as you can see here, I've introduced the white dot. I have the blue dot tipped forward, so it's a little bit more visually salient than our white dot. Now, the one thing I would change here actually is if I would to do this over again, I would actually, instead of having the white dot tip back, the blue dot tipped forward, and then tipping the blue dot back, I would have actually instead had, when I'm making them of equal salience, tip both of the dots forward. So that way it's a lot more clear to me as the trainer when the rabbit's engaging with one of the dots, because you can see it move. So if you go and do this protocol again, the way that I'm doing it here in this video, what I would recommend is having the dots lean forward rather than flat against the white backdrop, if that makes sense. Now, before she can make a wrong choice, I lowered that panel there and offered the choice again. Switching sides. So far so good, but keep in mind that this is still now visually salient. So now, a little snafu. Okay, so this is really important. So in this trial here that I just rewound, right, she touched the blue dot first, which is great. And I clicked to mark that, right? But while I was getting her reinforcement, she went over and investigated the other dot. So ideally, we want to prevent that. So that way she doesn't associate food in any way with the white dot. Now these are of equal visual salience. They're both leaned up against here as opposed to being tilted forward. Again, though, if I were to do this again, I would have had both of the dots leaning forward as opposed to against that flat backdrop. I think, at least. You can give it a go and let me know what you think. How about that? Yeah, so I think because the blue dot was on the same side a couple of times, there we go. And so you can see she made an error 2 times in a row. So we just dropped our criterion. We went back. I went back 2 steps just to recapture that interaction with the blue dot only. And now we did 3 trials there. So now we're moving back up again to where we were. We do seem to be developing a side preference. Again, I think if I could do this, if I were to do this again, if she is touching the blue dot on the right side, I would reinforce on the right side to make sure I'm not accidentally crossing over here and bringing her closer to the white dot as I'm reinforcing her, and vice versa. So the nice thing about this setup is that we have a clear panel, so she can in theory see both of her options ahead of time, and you have this nice buffer space between you and her, so she's not pounding or hounding you too much, or harping and all that great stuff. We don't want any of those kind of interactions. And then this white barrier here is nice because it provides something for the panels to lean up against, as well as you have a little bit of space to yourself, so you're not inadvertently cueing with your body as much, and you can hide all those pellets behind there as well. So yeah, so if you are looking for any of these materials, I left them at the front entrance of the bunny room. So if you wanted to try and give this setup a go with Lando and or continue with Bree and see how it goes, you're welcome to. I would start where you left off though, which is still working on shaping up that blue dot. And I wouldn't start here where I have it just yet, because I think she could use a little bit more practice at the first stage before moving on to the inequitable visual salience stage. But yeah, that's all I got for you. Hope that helps.